Hello, my name is Francis Fox. We are living in very interesting times. As you know, I'm a trained remote viewer, also trained in interspecies communication, which means communication with other species, like aliens, since I was a child, and a lot of other things. So, what are we doing today? We're going to look at the map of the United States, which looks very interesting. Let's go ahead and start with that. And for those of you that are listening to this in a podcast, the thumbnail for this podcast is the actual map. So if you click on it, you should be able to see it. If not, you can see the actual video on my Spanish video channel, YouTube. It's called YouTube. It's called Francis Fox Reveals. And my English is Francis Fox English on YouTube. You'll be able to see this video where I'm explaining this that you will be hearing now in the podcast. Okay, I also put there the name of the book that we just finished. We have it in Spanish and English, Kindle, and in paperback. If I put the link that I have for the book, it's from here until tomorrow. So you just go to Amazon and look up Francis Fox Creation World Peace. And I'd like some feedback on it. It is the result of many decades of work and intention that we all feel peace. In this case, it's world peace. All of the things can be applied to your personal life. Enough with promos. This is the map of the United States today. Okay. The bad guys, what they're saying is we have to take him down, and that's Trump. The entire country is openly angry, which is not a bad thing because it's repressed emotions that make us sick. The spiraling is in the opposite direction of the movement of the hands of a clock, counterclockwise, which is root chakra. So our anger is rooting us as a country, our legitimate anger that this information has been hidden from us. And how many times are we going to say the same thing? Obviously, this is something like really big. At the top, it doesn't really matter. Planetary alignments, I'll talk about that now. The Northeast has a lot of black magic. It's been X'd out. So whatever bad is going on there having to do with conspiracy and trying to go against whatever it is that is being done by Trump, our duly elected president, that seems to be California, as usual, X'd out. Florida looking really good. New York, Washington, looking good. And then the words Disney is being taken care of. And that's a very good thing because as a child, what they used were the Disney characters to work with us with mind control. So you take all the Disney characters, they give them the apple, and the person falls asleep. And then another personality comes up, what the Mayans call a subpersonality. The one where Mickey Mouse goes into the basement with the broom, and it's really interesting, and then he comes back up, and you don't know if it's a dream or not. If you now, with this information, go look at all the Disney characters, knowing that Mickey Mouse was the symbol of the United States for many years. I don't care who gets angry about this because that's getting taken care of now. This is no longer going to be our symbol. A ditzy mouse was the symbol of this country. Not a good thing, but I'd like for somebody to argue with me and say that's not true. Ask people out of the country, not now, like 3, 4, 5 years ago, what symbolizes, and show them all the symbols, the eagle, the flag, what symbolizes the United States. They're going to point at Mickey Mouse. Not good, but very accurate. So the entire country is in a rage. We feel like we've been played. We've all been played. Here's the trick. Somebody asked me to look at the planetary alignments. Today is when 7 planets align. It's very unusual. It won't happen for another, 20 years. I don't know which of the planets are. So you can see some of them, others you can't. Those details are not my thing. What is my thing is to know what this is about. And I was finishing the finishing touches in the book that I hope to have out next week that's called Sex. We have to figure this out. I don't know if I'm going to be carted off to jail. I don't think so. I don't know how many people are going to stop speaking to me. Nobody's talking to me now anyway. I don't know how many people are going to say I'm crazy. Most people that don't have a wide lens think I'm crazy anyway. Is my family going to turn on me? I'm not able to see my family anyway. It's dangerous for us to see each other because we're used against each other. So let's see. It's somebody like me that can put something like this out because we don't care. Nobody's paying our bills. I pay my bills, always have. So how can it hurt? It doesn't hurt. And it's information. Most of it should be accurate. I would think that all of it would be accurate. It's a collection of dolphin messages, some of them very long about sex, sexuality, commitment. When you have sex with somebody, they're not in agreement with that. They said it really kind of kills the act of sex, which is true. Got to read the book. It'll irritate you a lot. But I decided to go ahead and put in something, and I didn't know if I should put it in because I know people are going to say that I'm either getting paid to put it in or that I'm so in love with Elon and that's why I put it in. No. That information I put it in the chapter about sexuality in this book is something I wrote 20 years ago, and it was so cute, but nobody really understood it. But I put it in. And basically, what the information is your front door in feng shui based on the bagua. I'll show you the bagua, the map of the energies of your home. Let's let it come up so that I can click it and you can see it. Here we go. The front door, which is where you enter your home. You could enter through the garage, and that would be your front door in terms of this map. Your front door has to do with your career. Okay? But I realized years ago that that map is a map of all the energies of human beings, but it doesn't include sexuality. And I realized years ago that's because our sexuality is not in that map. Guess where our sexuality is? It's in our mode of transportation, which today is car. Some people bicycles in other countries, whatever. And that is really, really interesting. So you can read about it next week and you can throw mud at me. I don't think you're going to congratulate me. I think that the information there is so shocking and so moving, and it's accurate. So it's not going to fall down, that people are going to be like, wait a second. So if you end the book or pieces of it and you have like this big question mark, that's exactly what I'm looking for you to start questioning things. But we got to get back to the planetary alignments that are today. This is a big day on planet Earth, on its history. Between now and the eclipse, there's an eclipse on the 15th of March. Somebody asked me today to write about it, and so I'm asking the dolphins in this final chapter that I'm daring to put in the book, talking about your cars and your sexuality. Something just slipped my mind. Where was I going? Okay. So when you finish reading the book, you might want to wonder what kind of car Saint Teresa would drive if she had a car. It'll probably be a white car. But you got to read the book and find out about Saint Teresa. So here we go. On the 15th, there's an eclipse. And everybody has been saying for a long time that at this time, now, end of February, something's going to happen to the planet that's going to change everything. Nobody knows what's going to happen to the planet. Something's going to happen. It's going to change everything. Everything is going to be different. And then they're talking about there being an awful lot of light coming in. They're talking about 3 days of darkness. I don't know about any of that. But how about if I read to you and tell you what the dolphins told me today about what it is that's going to happen between now and the 15th, which totally is hand in hand with the release of the Epstein documents, the JFK documents, and everything else that we would like to come out into the light. Now, everything coming out into the light, all the darkness, is a very big problem because we have so much darkness. So let me find the document and let me read it to you. Darn, Where am I going to find that document? I should have had it pulled up, but of course I didn't. Okay, I'm not going to be able to find the document now, and we are not going to waste your time. But what the document says is that between now and the 15th of March, there is going to be so much light on the planet that there's not going to be any darkness left. Okay, that's good, right? All your darkness is going to get revealed. The Epstein file, JFK, everything, and then your own personal stuff and the stuff with your boss, the stuff with your company. If your company does stuff that's illegal or it does stuff and it doesn't take care of its customers or it lies to its customers, apparently all of that is going to get revealed. This is what the dolphins told me. And it kind of makes sense because if all of that comes out within the next 2 weeks, I'm not sure how many of us are going to be left standing because we have not dealt with our personal darkness, nor the darkness in our politics or in our bank accounts or in our institutions. We have not taken care of it. And the Mayans said, wow, they were gifted prophets. That at the end, the important thing was going to be that our subpersonalities, that's where we hide our darkness, was going to be revealed. And that we, not other people accusing us, we were going to be so upset by that that it would create the confusion that you see in those images of the apocalypse, where everything is red and dark and the devil, the people are screaming and crying, and there's a lot of killings. Between now and the 15th, there is going to be no place for darkness to hide. This is a very good thing long term. This is very complicated short term. So we are going to have to thank Trump again that he is making a concerted effort to reveal that darkness. What's done with it afterwards needs to be really well thought out because the Mayans said it is going to be the reason for the apocalyptic images at the end. How do we stop that? And one of the ways we stop that is by again understanding that this is a planet of duality. Light and dark had to play out on this planet amongst all human beings, all of whom are basically bottom line good people. If they played out darkness, it's because they chose to help in this tragedy that life on planet Earth is. Our enemies are from off planet. And in the book, Sex, We Got to Figure It Out, when I brought up the images of the tantric images, which are a male figure and then a female's figure basically on top of the male, hugging the male female union, which creates electricity. When you do the red and the blue cable in electricity, those images show a lot of anger and rage. And I realized basically you have to protect the act of sex because the galactics, the bad guys, don't want you to have good sex, good sexual partner. Those images are thousands of years old. This is not new. I'm not making this up. I'm understanding. Now, could the people that are into tantric sex explain that to us? We don't even believe in aliens. So what are the chances of us not completely dismissing them if they try to tell us something that's true? Read the book. You don't have money? It's $5 for the Kindle version and share it with everybody you know. I really couldn't care less about the money. That's not what it's all about. It's about having information. According to the Buddha, human anguish is based and is caused by ignorance. Ignorance is a lack of information. So, between now and the 15th of March, 2025, not a year from now, 2 weeks from now, I don't know what it is that's going to happen physically. The people that are very into this talk a lot about there being like this lightning strike of light that comes into the planet. And basically, that's kind of, but in different words, is what the dolphins were talking about. We will see. We will see. Okay. Now I want to talk about one more thing and then we'll go ahead and do a mantra. Which are the vaccines? I think that if everything's going to be out there for everybody to know between now and the 15th, then I think I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to read the vaccines as a remote viewer. I would like to have one of the bottles, the vaccine. I don't need it, but I would really like to have it. But regardless, if I'm not able to somehow get somebody to give me one of the vaccines, then I will go ahead and read it without having an object. I read things from across the planet all the time, but this is like so important. Whatever it is that I read, I will document as I am reading it. I will do a video and I will put it out. And part of my intention having to do with this is, okay, you got vaccinated. Is that the end for you? No. I am sure that there are remedies. And I will look to find those remedies and recommend them. They're not going to be anything you have to buy from me. I have no idea what it's going to be. This has nothing to do with money. It has to do with information. And probably there's people across the planet that have already read and understood what the vaccines are supposed to do to us that we're not supposed to know. I have no idea. I don't read other people's stuff because I've been told that that would kind of, in the past, I was told just simply not to read books, not to read what other people were doing because it would influence me. This is true. And it would probably set me back because what I would be reading was current knowledge that's available. And what my job is to bring in, download new information. So I will put it out and we will see where it is that goes. I'm kind of excited about that. I have been worried about doing that. In the book, Sex, we got to figure this out. There's a map of where God is in relation to our physical body. And it's not in our crown chakra. Now, I probably, let me see, here I do need to get the sketch to be able to tell you because I mix up numbers a lot. What can I tell you? Brahma, which is how they call it in Hinduism. Oh, God. This is so exciting. Brahma, the door to Brahma, to God, is 18 inches above your head and 22 inches behind you. Up 18, back 22. That is a portal, the portal to God. It's going to be interesting. I don't think I've ever seen that information before. And it will be interesting what we can do with that, having to do with meditations and astral traveling. So, bottom line, we look exactly how we need to look. The entire country is in a rage. We feel played, having to do with the Epstein documents. It's going to come out anyway because of that eclipse between now, what's happening today, the 28th, the alignment of the planets, and the eclipse on the 15th. There's another eclipse that pairs off with it, but what the dolphins said was it had to do. You know what? I want to find that document. Let me see. Because sometimes it doesn't open up completely. No, this is opened up. Okay, so I'm going to read it to you. Now, mind you that this book that's coming out next week, Sex, We Have to Figure It Out, starts with Saint Teresa and her sexuality. And I was thinking the other day, it's not a coincidence that this Pope is on basically his deathbed. Some people say he's already died, but they're not giving out the information. You need to know that it is said that this is going to be the last Pope. That's really interesting, having to do with the fact that everything is going to be revealed between now and the 15th. In terms of my book, the cover is about Saint Teresa, and it's all about sex. So, and I thought, not a coincidence that, because I've had this information for 20 years, But why is it that I feel like I can put this out now? I think it has to do with the fact that everything's going to come out. So this is what the dolphins said today. The Dolphins said this: "It is not a coincidence that this information will be released at the end of February 2025. The astrological storm, aligning of the planets on the 28th of February, was to brush or shove away the final resistance to the change planet Earth needs, the need to have a life based on truth. That means that the darkness, the games, the mind control tactics, the scare tactics will no longer work after the 15th of March, 2025. The lunar eclipse of the 14th of March will ensure that so much light will shine on the darkness that no one will be free of having to live in the light. There will be no darkness to hide in." What does that mean to humans? It means that all mysteries on planet Earth will be revealed for what they are: mysteries due to a lack of full information or a limited belief system. And then they said a piece, I'm not going to read the whole thing, but let me read this little piece. For example, when it comes to sex, a most important topic at this time, due to how certain galactics understood the importance of sex in a human's life, and they make it their business to distort anything and everything having to do with how to maintain a healthy sex life. The tantric monks do understand, but they've not been allowed to share due to so much disinformation and hysteria surrounding sex. Okay, that is part of what is actually, I think it's the last chapter of the book. But the rest of that, you need to see the book. Even if you end up throwing it against the wall or trashing it or telling people that I'm completely crazy, that's okay. That's standard in my life. So neat when I tell people things and then 5 years later they come and said, I thought you were crazy. I said, gosh, she's not a good psychic. This information is totally wrong. These people say, and it turned out you were right. And then they want me to be really open with them and say something else. But I know it'll take them another 5 years to integrate it. So we won't be doing that. So there we are. Let's go ahead and do a mantra. And we absolutely have to do a mantra about being a master. You know what? I'm going to make up a mantra for this, which is, even though I am afraid of the truth coming out, let's make it more elegant, being revealed. You know what revelations means. Revelations, we're in Revelations. It means to unveil. And nobody associated it with this eclipse. I've not heard anybody associate it with the eclipse, but now we understand Revelations. To unveil, we're going to unveil the darkness. We live in very interesting times. I'm getting a little bit bored being closed here in my house. It's so interesting. Everything that's going on. Okay, here we go. This is the mantra. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and choose. No, even though you have the best, that's great, Jacqueline, that you have the best partner. Okay, let's choose a Fox sensory therapy video. So if we're doing it, we're talking about sex. Okay. You're afraid. Oh, subconscious. That's what we want. The mantra is repeated in silence and you expel through your mouth. Okay. How do you feel? In terms of gossip, I did not have anybody visit me last night. Nobody's spirit visited me last night. No man with very expensive clothing and no female very well dressed, both of whom tried to feed me something in the middle of the night. Um, so it was a peaceful night last night. I do actually see them talking to each other. They're not quite sure what to do because they weren't expecting me to be able to see them. So maybe they haven't given up trying to take me down. But again, if it is true that all this light is going to come in, it certainly is going to come in having to do with Epstein and the JFK files. Um, it's going to be complicated for a lot of people. And remember, the whole issue is sex. Epstein is sex trafficking. My issue with JFK was sex trafficking. I think we're going to find out that the populations that were being allowed to come in via illegal immigration, a lot of it had to do with having access to children for sex trafficking. So the whole issue of sex, when I have this book called Sex, We Need to Figure It Out, we do need to figure it out because it seems to be the bottom line in a lot of things that have made our society sick. Now, it was today in researching to finish the book that I made an association I should have made a long time ago, but there you go with the whole thing with the veils to where we can't see stuff. The energy center where your sexuality is called your sacral chakra. Sacral as in sacred. So we haven't paid attention to the sacredness of sex. Tantric Buddhism does. And cults and religions want to control it. But the element that is channeled in that chakra, the water element, so it has to do with your bladder and your kidneys. Any issues that you have with your bladder or your kidneys has to do with the sacral chakra. Okay, so the issue is water in metaphysics is emotions. Now, the third energy center, solar plexus, where all your digestive organs are, is called the garbage can of emotions. For some reason in my head, that was the chakra associated with emotions. No, it's the chakra where we put the garbage emotions. It's the second chakra, the one associated with sex, that channels the element associated with emotions, which is water, which means that you're not going to be able to get away with sexual issues. You can hide it and pretend it's not important. Pretend you can have a relationship where there is no sex, and yes, this is my husband. Okay, but why is he not your brother? You haven't had sex for 5 years. Now, I'm not talking about older people, and I don't have it all figured out. Okay, if I did, I wouldn't be here. Supposedly on the planet, you can only be here when you're trying to figure things out. But all of these things we didn't know because there were blocks and veils to very simple things, such as your emotions are channeled mainly through the energy center that is called sacral, meaning sacred, and emotions. Interesting, important, powerful information that, yes, we have ignored, but I don't think we're going to be able to ignore it much longer, not with all the light being shining on the planet. And again, that what the dolphins gave me was a little bit more information than what a lot of other people have. When they said there's going to be so much light, they didn't know if there would be like a lightning strike or something was going to come from the sun and it was going to light everything up. I have no idea in what form all of that light's going to be. I suspect that maybe it won't be quite that dramatic as a solar storm. I don't know. But I think the word revelations now is when you really need to understand the definition, which is to unveil and reveal. The apocalypse means to unveil and reveal. So what they're saying is that the apocalypse with the unveiling and revealing is going to be a disaster, which is what the Mayans said in the Tortuguero prophecy. Yes, I know I'm repeating myself. So then I'm going to end this podcast. And thank you for joining me.